My name's Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. We're shooting this show in Santa Barbara, California on December 29th, 2000. So in 2 days, we're going to come into a new year, the year 2001. We're coming into, is it the beginning of the new millennium? Is it the second year of the new millennium? And as we talked about last week, in a way, it doesn't matter. What matters is in every day of each of our lives, have we experienced the joy of living, the love? Have we experienced the connection to that which brings us the joy? And, you know, when we come up and people, the ritual here for a lot of us here on Earth is to have New Year's resolutions. Now, you know, what do we want to resolve? Do we want to resolve to be rich and famous? Do we want to resolve to get that special person in our lives? But really what we want is to resolve to be happy, to experience love and to share love. And really that's in every day and every breath, that's what a human being wants to do, is to experience love and then share love. And that's what we're here to do. And so much goes on. I mean, this show over time will be shown all over the world on the internet, and anybody who wants to watch it will see it. And we divide ourselves as human beings by countries, by religions, by so many things that are not the true experience of what we can have as being brothers and sisters, as having that one true connection to the one love, to the one vibration of energy that people call God, or people call it different things in different religions. But in essence, we're all that same thing. We all came from that. And that's the connection that hopefully we can take into the next breath, the next day, and the next year, 2001, 2002, and to really begin to make that prayer is that whatever we see the separations are, to let those illusions fade away, and to really see the light and love that we all are. And in that, we're all the same. We are all the same brotherhood and sisterhood and all the same love. And that's what we want to experience in coming into a new day, a new year, and a new millennium, whenever it might be. So again, we have people on the show tonight whose lives from the time they were so young were dedicated to that recognition and to that glory, and they share their gifts in different ways. We have Jaya with us, who's a spiritual teacher. She's an author of an extraordinary new book, Amazon Magic, which is the life story of a shaman and I always have to pronounce it, Ayahuasquero, Don Augustine from Peru. She too is an Ayahuasquero. And it's a shaman and a teacher in a specific manner. And she has so many gifts to share. I mean, she's had an extraordinary life leading up to being here, leading up to this moment, leading up to sharing her love with you, her gifts with you. And we also have with us Agatha Danoff, who's a mystical singer-songwriter. She's classically trained as an opera singer. She has a new CD out, Terranova, Ascension of Our Planet. And her connection to that experience that I'm talking about, that love and that truth, you can hear in every vibration of her voice and every sound of her voice. And the songs she's singing tonight are about all of us coming into that experience more and more. And again, I mean, that's what the Bridging Heaven and Earth show is about, for us all, whatever we think might separate us, to go a little deeper, to go into that experience in whatever way you know how, and to experience that one true connection. And then it will really be a heaven on earth here, and it will be a joyous day, a joyous moment, a joyous century for us all. So as we normally do at this time, join me in a short meditation, then we'll come back with Jaya and Agatha, and it's going to be another chance for us all to go deeper. So please join me. Thank you. So we're going to begin tonight's show. Settle in. Let the vibration of this show of Agatha and Jaya bring us all to a new level. It is possible, and it's time for us all to really experience more. So Agatha's first set is going to be Moment, and this song was written by Agatha and Solomon, and it's going to be performed by Agatha. And then the second song she's going to do in this set is called Love Song, and that was written and performed by Agatha Rose Danoff. And both are on her new CD, Terranova. So, Agatha, please take her away.
Without
Wow, thank you, Agatha. That was very powerful. We're on the set with Jaya. Well, welcome.
Thank you, Alan.
So, we spent some time together earlier today, and it was amazing to me that from such an early age, you were basically hungry to find out the truth. You left your home with your parents at an early age, and then basically you've been traveling the world to find. Why don't you tell a little about that?
Well, I was born in South Africa, and I left when I was 17, and spent many years traveling through different parts of the world and studying and working with different teachers.
But that was your intent right from the get-go, was it?
Yes.
Was it like, I want to know God? Was it that clear?
Well, it was a feeling of wanting to come to, I suppose, a clarity about myself, and as I grew in my life, I realized that God and finding yourself and finding the clarity of life are one and the same thing. And so most of my life has been trying to, or letting go enough of my mind to experience who I am and become clear about it. And so my work now with Don Augustine is another part of...
Now you wrote a book, Amazon Magic, where he is the central figure, and it's about his life and about his work as a ayahuasquero and
Yes.
your work with that now.
Yes.
So why don't you describe, how did you first come to, you were living in Taos at the time?
I was living in, I was married to a Native American man who was well known all over the world. His name was Sun Bear.
And he was a shaman.
And he was a medicine man, in the Native American tradition. And after he passed away, I felt really drawn to, I felt a need to work through some issues inside of myself. And I felt very drawn to Peru. It was like I knew that there was something there for me. It was that there was something big for me there. And I went with someone and met Don Augustine. And I didn't know anything about ayahuasca at the time, and it was not my intention, and that it was what I was supposed to do. And I connected with Don Augustine and the work he was doing so strongly, and I've just come to have such a deep admiration and love and respect for him and the work that he does for the world. And the work with ayahuasca is what is so powerful. And when I take people down, it's not to...
You lead groups where you...
I take people,
now,
yes.
and you have one in March, and you have like 2 or 3 a year, where you take a group of 10 people to Peru to work and play and learn and
Yes.
cleanse, and with Don Augustine.
Yes, I take small groups, anywhere between 15 to 18 people, and the work is... Augustine is the vehicle through which this work is done, and it's not. I'm not taking groups to become of people so that they can become ayahuasqueros, or that they are going to see somebody to become their teacher. Ayahuasca is the teacher, working with this plant.
Why don't you describe what the plant it is and what effects it might have and things like that?
Ayahuasca is a vine that grows in the jungle, and it is a divine plant. It's a gift from the Creator, and it's a plant that's a very powerful teacher and healer, and helps people come to a greater clarity about themselves. And ayahuasca cleans people out on every level, so physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, people are cleansing.
So, is this similar to psilocybin mushrooms and similar?
Each plant has its own spirit, and it's not a drug, it's a plant spirit, and each plant is alive, conscious beings, and there's all the plants were given to us. Different plants do different things. Some plants are there to heal a stomach ache, some plants are there to heal a person psychologically, mentally. Some plants are there as teachers to give clarity, and ayahuasca just happens to be one of the most powerful plants on the planet for helping people come to...
Would you say it's an opening of the soul, of the heart, a recognition? How would you describe your experience?
Yes, it's an opening, and it's like Don Augustine says. The neurons that we all have, the neurons in our body take on impressions, like everything we taste, touch, see, hear.
And it goes back maybe hundreds of lifetimes even. It's not just we started 2 days ago.
Yes, But all those, our neurons are just, you know, flooded with impressions, and it's like we overloaded with impressions. And basically, what he says ayahuasca comes in and cleans out those neurons. And so, in the process of cleaning out those neurons, people will have visuals. Because they'll have visions. It's not necessary to have visions with ayahuasca, but usually people have visions. And that process of cleaning and clearing out those neurons, it's like we are overloaded. It's like a circuit, an electric circuit that's totally overloaded. And so in the process of those neurons getting cleaned out, that's what it appears as the visuals. And after working with ayahuasca, you feel totally healed, cleansed, and with just deeper clarity about your life. And so I facilitate these groups so that people can go through deep transformations within themselves.
But how about in terms of your story? So you went down there and you had this feeling to go to Peru. I mean, did you know of Don Augustine at the time? Or?
No, I knew somebody who was taking a group there, and I knew this person, and so I went because I felt drawn to going. And as soon as I met Don Augustine, I had a very strong heart connection with him. And I've been working with him for a number of years now, and his life story is so fascinating and so interesting, and it's so incredible to see how someone coming from such a poverty-stricken town and life was able to do with their lives. And also the book gives people an opportunity to see life in the Amazon, and that an opportunity to see life in a way that we'd never have a chance to see.
Doesn't happen like that so much in Santa Barbara. You haven't noticed it? You have to get pretty deep in the woods. It wasn't like where we had lunch today.
No.
We had lunch right on the ocean at this really neat place, so it wasn't quite like that. So, I mean, from the first time you went there, you felt like this was your path for a certain amount of time, that this was something that was going to draw you. And what was your experience the first time, during this trip, this first trip was the first time you took ayahuasca?
Yes.
And that was with him?
That was with him.
And part of the group?
Yes, I was part of a group.
And your experience was just the way you described the cleansing and opening? And
cleansing and opening, I felt like every cell in my body had been cleaned out, and I just felt alive and
childlike.
And childlike and healed. And I was still grieving over the death of my husband, so it was a part of my healing.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Don Augustine's life? You alluded to it a little bit, but you know how he did. I mean, I read the book. It's an amazing story.
Yes, he's an amazing person. Well, he was really in touch with the spirits from when he was a young child, and so the book tells about his contact with the spirits, and the Amazonian mythology is so much a part of people's life there. And that's what's so interesting about reading the book, because it's a view of a life that we would never have a chance to experience. And the book's told in his words, and as he grows up, his experience with the spirits, his experience with his connection to the jungle spirits and the spirits of the river, and everything is, the people there feel. There's a simplicity about life there, and people are really in touch with the earth and
the natural ebb and flow
and nature
forces, right?
In a way that we in this society we have so much input, we get out of touch with that reality.
No, my computer tells me it's night, so it's okay. No. Yeah, it's just a different way here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, go on about how he grew into being what he is.
Well, he was actually born into a family of shamans and healers. Certain people in his family were, and so he had that background. He comes from that, and he later on in his life met with other teachers who taught him the path of ayahuasca more seriously.
So he had to go through the process in a sense that you did, although he was...
Yes, although he had it in him.
Right.
And being part of that culture and being in touch with the spirits of that world, it was more a part of him than it is a part of me. I have to unlearn a lot to remember who I am, like we all do.
So when I was reading the book, it seemed to me that there were also a lot of other, besides ayahuasca, a lot of other herbs and
he knows a lot of plants. The Amazon has just hundreds of plants that are just very powerful healers, and to preserve the Amazon is really an important thing, and for him it's very important. And in his camp, he plants a lot of these medicinal plants, and he uses them in healing, but he's also a healer where he uses energy to heal. And when he's doing ceremony, he can see into people through the ayahuasca. It gives him the ability to see more clearly, and he's working in ceremony all the time as a healer.
So other people take groups down.
There are other people that take groups. I'm one of the main people taking groups. I take more of groups in the year than some of the other people. When I take a group,
but that's basically what he does is work with people. And
yes, and he's working with people to heal them on all these different levels that I was saying. When I take a group down, we go down the Amazon by boat for about 3.5 hours, and then get off in a little village and then walk into the jungle for about an hour and a half, and that's where a group of mine will be for 2 weeks. And one of the things that the group does is the first day we do a very deep intestinal cleanse to get rid of worms.
And that's with some of the medicinal plants and herbs that
yes,
he gives you mixes of different things.
Well, this particular plant is a latex from a tree, and it's called ohe, and it's to get rid of worms and parasites, which all of us have. People that here think that they're free of worms and parasites, and only people in third world countries have that, and it's not true. And in fact, people with cancer have thousands and thousands of worms and parasites, and he's seen that. And so it's a very important part of the healing of going down there.
Yeah, there are some Western people who
are recognizing that. Yes, and so that's the first thing we do, and that helps prepare people to working in ceremony. Ayahuasca is used in ceremony, and so
why don't you take people through the process of the first day is this healing. Now it's a 2-week experience.
It's a 2-week experience, and after the first day where we do the intestinal cleanse, during the time period we do 4 ceremonies with the ayahuasca. Each day after ceremony we all share our experience, and it's very helpful to hear what other people have gone through. The days we don't do ayahuasca, we do jungle walks, he'll talk about different plants. We do herb baths, clay baths, and he does talks, and it's a very integrated healing experience.
He speaks English well enough to...
He speaks Spanish, and I have an interpreter.
No. You bring an interpreter
I
with
always
you.
take an interpreter.
Wow. Sounds like an amazing trip.
Yes, it's an amazing trip.
And for you, every time you go, it's extraordinary.
It's always extraordinary. It's like this. The learning process never stops, and I come back to my life, and it's you can't help but taking it. That's part of why we meditate. It's the same thing of cleaning out and clearing those neurons, which are taking on so many impressions in our lives, and we're getting all this technological pollution. And one of the things being in the jungle is there's no technological pollution, there's no electricity, and so it's a very healing environment.
There are no power lines.
There's no power lines. There's no computer screens and TV screens.
Oh my God, my house has like 4,000 of them.
Yes, and you're taking all of that into your body.
Well, actually, the Indians have an expression: if there's no place for death to enter, it won't. That's true with like bad energy and a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, do you feel like that this is something you're going to continue to do, or you were talking about moving from where you're living now, but do you feel like your work with Don Augustine is what you're going to move with for a while?
At this time in my life, that's what I'm doing, and who knows ever what the future holds. And as long as right now he's alive, I'm doing this work. I feel like it's very important work, and people just gained so much in their lives from it. So I'll continue doing it, and it's, if people are interested at all in this, I really recommend to read the book, because it gives such a, it gives in his words a view that I can't express in a very short period of time here.
Because you can sure express yours, right?
I can express my view.
Well, you've had a lot of experience now.
Working with ayahuasca has really helped me also come more in contact with the plant world, and I feel more in touch with the plant world and with the spirits of the plants, and more connected to the earth. Even though the work that I have been doing for a number of years has been on that path, this has definitely opened me up to
Would you say that your life has been, we started the conversation with that you've been seeking that knowledge since you were a little girl, and that this is just, you know, an extension of that, and it just all evolved into this now, and it's just all into an opening and an understanding?
Yes, and I think, you know, if we're on the path, it's like whatever comes into our life is all, everything is a part of it. Everything's always a part of our life and our growth and our learning. And at this point, this is part of my growth and learning.
And it's fun for you. I mean,
yes,
bottom line, you really enjoy being there.
I love being in the jungle. I feel at home there. So.
All right, well, maybe what we'll do now is we'll set up for Agatha's second set. I mean, you know, anybody who turned in from the beginning and heard Agatha sing the first two songs, I mean, knows that this is really a treat. So just again, settle in. This is Agatha's second set. She'll be doing Chant, which she wrote, and she's going to perform. And then she's going to do Dream, which was written by Agatha and Naj Lahamadeh, and Agatha Rose Danoff is going to do it. And the second song, Dream, is from her new CD, Terranova. So just settle in and enjoy it. Agatha? Thank you, Agatha. That was fantastic. 3 of the songs that she did of the 4 were on her new CD, Terranova. So, actually, if there's any questions about Agatha's CD, about Jaya's trips or Jaya's book, call me anytime, Alan, 805-687-2053, Alan, 805-687-2053, and I'll tell you what their schedules are, you know, where you can get everything. So when you're ready, just do that. So we're back on the set with Jaya, and they're moving me from camera to camera. All right, we're back on the set with Jaya. So part of the way Don Augustine works is using a lot of music.
Yeah, in ceremony he uses music and sound vibration for healing, and throughout the ceremony he's using that circulating around the room, tuning into each person's frequency and basically aligning each person through sound vibration.
And you put together a CD, you produced it, I guess you didn't make the music on it, but
right.
of musicians from down.
Well, actually it's a CD, it's called Ayahuasca Songs from the Peruvian Amazon, and it is not sung by Augustine, it's by another ayahuasquero who's a nephew of his and who assists in each ceremony, and it was recorded live in the jungle. And it's just this one man singing and using an instrument which they call a shakapa, which is a bunch of dried leaves which they shake. And it's a very beautiful CD. It was a live recording, and you can hear birds in the background, and very powerful. Different style of singing to Augustine, but very typical ayahuasca style.
So part of all these trips is all kinds of different harmonizing and balancing of all the different levels of the human being, physically and emotionally, spiritually, and all. And music is used, and ayahuasca is used, and talks are used. So it's like a whole whole seminar.
And the environment, you know, the pure environment is very important, and being there is very important.
And he was just in the United States because he stayed at your house.
He was visiting, but he doesn't come here to do ceremonies. The ceremonies in Peru, and actually that's where
he has never done a ceremony outside of his confines.
No, he has. He's traveled all over the world. Ayahuasca is not legal in this country.
It isn't?
No. It's in this country. There's many things that are not legal, including many forms of alternative healing are not legal, and.
Under what theory that it's a drug?
It's considered an
illegal substance.
It's considered actually. Ayahuasca is prepared with another plant called chacruna. It's always the 2 plants are prepared together, and ayahuasca on its own is legal, but prepared with the chacruna it's not, because it's visionary. And so it's
God forbid
anybody should have a vision.
Visionary in the United States. That would be too brutal. God forbid that should happen.
The intention is not, here in the United States or most parts of the world of governments, is not to waken people up.
Visionaries are not.
It's not what they're trying to create.
Revolutionary.
Right.
Gets to be a problem.
So I don't, you know.
Really, so I mean, the laws are written specifically enough that ayahuasca alone is fine, but you mix it with something else and it becomes an illegal substance.
Yes.
And the other alone is fine. So if you mix it in your stomach, is that work? I'm just trying to figure this out, and it's got to be a way. But.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what.
It's interesting.
And I prefer people coming down with me, because it's like if somebody makes the effort to come down, they really have the intention. I won't take anybody if it's just some kind of casual journey. Whoever comes on a journey has to really have the intent that this is a life-changing experience, that they really want to look at the issues, because people's issues come up very strongly, and it's not easy to look at your issues, and if someone's not willing to look at the issues, it's not a good journey for them.
It's dangerous in a way.
It's not dangerous.
Not dangerous physically so much, but I mean, if you're resisting.
If they're resisting, then what it is that they won't get anything, and they'll also, their energy will affect everybody else in the group.
And what has your experience been? I mean, you've taken on literally hundreds of groups now, would you say?
Not hundreds. I've taken probably about 50 groups.
50 groups. And most people's experiences, they're going down there with that intent that it's for someone to get up and go all the way down there and go down the Amazon, that they have at least they begin with that intent to really be open.
I won't take anyone without talking to them, establishing some kind of communication with whoever comes in my groups. I've established a communication, not in person, because people come from all over the world and also all over the United States, but by telephone. I understand what the intention is, and
you'll say to some people, this is not for you.
I've said it to some people.
Just because vibrationally you feel that they won't benefit from it, it really isn't.
Or the intention is maybe somebody thinks they're coming to have a psychedelic high. Well, they won't have a psychedelic high. Or I've taken somebody on a. I can't always be right, and so occasionally I make a mistake, and somebody will come that doesn't harmonize in the right way and doesn't fit, and if that person tries to come back again, I won't take them.
And it affects everyone else.
It affects everybody in the group, because people are there for a very intense period of time and becoming very open. Ayahuasca really opens you up, so you're taking a lot of stuff from other people as well.
So, I mean, do you feel that, in your experience, that this is part of like the whole process? I mean, we see, this is the 110th show we were talking about earlier, that, there are so many different means and tools, and the whole process is like to open people up. And, this is one spoke on the wheel to like bring that awareness out.
Absolutely. It's one spoke on the wheel. It's a tool. And nobody in life can change anybody. A person has to be wanting to change themselves and willing to change themselves, and something can facilitate it or be a tool, but nothing or no one in life can change anyone.
So would you say that over your period of doing this, that you found people are becoming more open and more desirous of doing whatever it takes to become?
The response that I've got from people after they've come on a journey is always that they've gone through great changes in their lives. Some people, unfortunately, just go back to their old habit patterns. Mind is a very strong thing.
Well, habit patterns are strong anyway.
Yes, and if people don't use that tool and continue to use that tool, it's not going to do.
Now, does Don Augustine in your trips, do you give people tools and techniques to use when they come back? Because they can't do, say, ayahuasca, and they can't be in ceremony, they can't be with Don Augustine.
No, and the intention is not that ayahuasca is not a drug. It's not something that you become addicted to or something that you have to continue to do your whole life. It's an opening, and some people come down once and it's sufficient. Some people want to come down 2 or 3 times. It's just an opening.
But how do you maintain that opening when it's like somebody gets out of prison if they go back to the same situation that got
Yes,
them?
but if there's something very strong that changes a person's life, and people don't go backwards. If it's something very strong and they use that and they continue to work on themselves.
Are there tools or techniques? I mean, working on yourself. In other words, like, is there a meditation taught? Is there a circular breathing, or something of that?
There's no tools, specific tools or techniques. I mean, most people that come have some kind of tool that they're using in their life, or some technique that they're using, and it'll enhance it, or maybe somebody will be given something in their own experience. But it's a very personalized experience coming down there. It's a very personalized inner looking at oneself and inner growth.
And the experience that Don Augustine seems to have of seeing, are you beginning to develop that? Do you see that some of the skills that he has after your numerous experiences being down there?
Each of us is an individual, and I'm developing my own particular skills. Augustine is a very powerful healer and shaman, and he's a magician in ceremony. And that's his being. That's what he came onto the planet for. I came onto the planet for other things, and
like what?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But you know, any slight healing abilities that I may have being enhanced, and my getting clear about myself. Part of my work on this planet is being a facilitator of these groups, so I can help people come to clearer spaces in themselves through this particular medium.
So you see that as your way of empowering yourself in a way?
It's my way of empowering myself, and who I am, who I'm becoming, is who we all become affects everybody around us. And so who I'm becoming, how I manifest in my life, has to affect people around me.
So in other words, you vibrating with more love and more integrity is changing the world. I mean, obviously that's
that's how it should be for all of us to recognize, is that each of us affects the whole world. And what we do with our lives affects the whole world. And what you're doing here is affecting the world. The ripples go out.
Probably.
Yes.
We hope for. We really, I mean, we talk about that all the time, is that, for each of us just to come into that, a little bit greater opening, a little bit greater recognition really changes the whole world. If we can go out and, like I said at the opening, and have that prayer, to make this next year, this next day, this next breath a little more in integrity, a little more in love, a little more in consciousness. And that's, interesting, that's how we started the show, is that's what your quest, your journey, your spiritual path has been, right from the get-go. I mean, mine was in some ways a little different. I mean, it came, I don't know, it came when I was younger, and then it kind of went away in the middle. You know what I mean? But yours was pretty consistent, right?
It's been consistent since I started on this path. When I was a young kid, I think we all, when we're young, we know so much and then we forget. And it's basically it's a process of re-remembering who we are. All of us have forgotten, and it's to remember who we really are, and who we are is divine. And there's nowhere to go. There's no heaven to reach, or some star or cloud to sit on and find a God, because we God within ourselves. And so it's just a process of getting back to.
One of the crew members was saying to me earlier, wherever you go, there you are. And it's interesting, that's one of my favorite expressions, because one time, a while ago now, but we hiked down the Grand Canyon, there was a tour book, and so wherever you go, there you are, right? And it really struck me as like, we're always, when I get to the bottom of the canyon, when the show's over, when I go to the Guru, when I go to see Don Augustine the next time, it's always, we're waiting for something, and yet we are that. We are always that, and that's the illusion here, is that we don't recognize that we're that. We're that love, we're that God, we're that truth. And then we need all the tools and all the things and all the processes and all the relationship to come back into that recognition. That's why this Earth experiment is such an incredible thing for us.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I don't know. There was a question maybe somewhere in there, but I obviously lost it in some speech I was giving. So I mean, you feel yourself just really moving and continuing this process and allowing people to participate with Don Augustine and ayahuasca in an opening process.
Yes, and it's.
Yeah, no, I know. All right, so we're coming to the end of the show, and I wanted to make a few announcements about the foundation. The tapes are starting to go out all over the country when I explain what the foundation's about. So probably in all the cities where this is being shown, you've already seen that tape. And I just want to thank everybody who's called us and wanted to support us and support the show. We just found out that people are going to help get the show on in Boulder, which is probably our 40th or 41st city. So what we're doing here in all our experiences is to allow that love, the love that Jaya has spent her life trying to live under, trying to experience, trying to allow other people to experience, and Agatha, and all the guests we've had. I mean, we were counting down today how many we have, we've had over 200 guests. And I would say there are very few who whose experience has not been to have that in love and in humbleness and in recognition of that true creation. So, you know, for all of us, we're just so pleased to have your input. I mean, you don't know, like, you know, I mean, there's, you know, like doing a television show on Earth with all the troubles and the problems that can come up with having to do it and having to get the whole crew together and doing everything like that. But your input and your love just makes that effort for all of us here, makes it all worth it, makes it all just so pleased to have that happen. And, you know, we're just so happy to have, you know, people like Agatha and people like Jaya coming from all over the world to make their love known, to make their presentation known. And that for us is the real beauty of our chance to do the show. And we just feel so grateful, you know, week in and week out, to be able to bring you Bridging Heaven and Earth. And now the Bridging Heaven and Earth Foundation just wants to expand that and just wants to bring that love so it's in every city, every big city, so that it's all the shows, the 110 shows are all on the internet. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Anybody can watch any of the shows. Anybody can watch any of the shows over and over again to hear what Jaya said about something, about hearing one of Agatha's songs again. And to us, that is just a real gift to be able to do that. And that's, you know, what we're really aiming for. And one of the next things we're trying to do is to do a retreat and communication center where we will be a central point where we'll have a recording studio, a TV studio, a radio station, a publishing house, and marketing arms for all of these things. So all the New Age books that we see, all the CDs, all the workshops, that we will have the opportunity to really get that love out, to really get that vibration out stronger. And that's the dream of everybody's here. That's Jay is coming from all over to do that. Agatha's coming. And for us, it's just a real opportunity to do that. So again, your input means so much to us. Keep it up. Thank you so much for all your love and all your help. Good night. God bless you. We love you. It's an honor to be here with you. Good night.